Technologist, strategist, leader of men, salt of the earth, none other
my
than
father's son.
What's going on, Rich?
What's up, Ted? How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's always good to speak to, like I said, our first guest, Alicia Stern, was a New Yorker, and you're also a New Yorker, and I guess New York is in the house tonight, but we're going to talk about the state of streaming media, and a lot of people have, kind of sent me direct messages. What are you guys talking about? What's happening? What's new?
All right.
When the state of streaming media, and let's just say I don't even mention Chromecast versus Fire versus Apple TV, all the above. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to the novice or the person coming off the street that is like an end users that we deal with every day? I want to turn it over to you.
First of all, let me say thank you, Ted. Always a pleasure talking to you. You know that. And Alicia, that sounds like one very, very busy woman. She's going places, that's for sure. Look forward to working with her and talking with her in the future as well. Streaming media, what does that mean to the end user? For them, it just means being able to get their content, be it movies, music, video, whatever the case, whatever it is, getting it on their personal device without necessarily having to be connected to a wire, or without having to have that DVD right there, not having to have the file on the USB. They want to be able to get it there and connect to it somehow. It means to most people, I think.
Gotcha. And I will say this much. When I think of streaming media, I kind of think of there's two different types. There's the devices, which are available that we're going to talk about, and then there's services that are kind of out there in the cloud. So I guess we'll jump in first into the devices, the Chromecast or the Fire or the Apple TV. What are some of your thoughts on those three?
Let me say first, I did not get to get a hold of an Apple TV, but I got a hold of a Roku, so I'm still going to talk about all three. And I was able to we'll be talking specifically on the sticks, the small devices plug right back into the HDMI port on the back of your TV, and some stream different methods, but that they all have their own ways of connecting and getting that media to your device. So I guess I'll start with what they have in common. So again, these are all, we're talking, like you said, the Roku stick, the Google Chromecast, and the Amazon Fire Stick. All right, they're all about the same.
Okay.
They're all, maybe like a 2.5-inch, 3-inch long little USB type device. A couple of them have an LED on them and a reset button. One of them doesn't. We'll go into that. They all plug into the back of your TV. They all can use power from the USB port if your TV has one, and they'll come with an extension cable to do that. Otherwise, they also do come with an AC adapter. So if you've got your setup already in where, all your wires are hidden and the outlets are already on the wall behind your TV and you don't have anything available, this, could present a little challenge because you're going to have some more wires showing. But, again, they'll work off the USB power, but that can also introduce some minor, I won't call them issues, but just that'll introduce some items for when you turn your devices on. So they all stream. So everyone, the big players, they all support. All of them support Netflix, of course. All of them support YouTube, Hulu Plus, Showtime, Flickster, Crackle. Sports-wise, they all support Watch ESPN, MLB. For music, they all support Pandora, iHeart, Vevo, and some other streaming like utilities. They all support. There's one called Plex, is like the most popular one, and they all support that. Now, when you start getting into them, I guess I'll begin. I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to work from what I got to say what was my least favorite to my most favorite. So for me, and that's not to say that any of them was bad. They all have their strengths. They all have their weaknesses. But for me, so we're looking at prices. Prices ranging from about $50 to $35. So there's not a huge price break between these devices. They all are going to say really about the same. I'm going to start talking about the Google device first. That's the cheapest one, price-wise. $35 is their MSRP. You could probably get it for $30 or a little less. One of the differences, the Google device requires that you have like an iPad, iPhone, another device available to push the media to the device. So it's almost like it's constantly streaming it. The Google device doesn't have a separate remote. You do it all from the interface on the device. And so for me, and again, this is just a personal preference, if you remember, there was another company that had mobile devices recently, a couple of years ago, and they were coming out with their own big playbook, but it required that you had to have their device along with it. This is the same thing. You can't use it without another device. Which means you're sitting there in your living room or wherever you're looking at your media. You've got your phone in your hand. You've got your tablet in your hand. And you're worse than me. I know if you've got your phone in your hand, that means messages are going to be coming in, phone calls are going to be coming in, and that's going to interrupt your few moments of enjoyment, that few moments of peace and quiet. So for me, that's an issue. But still, it works. It's not a deal breaker necessarily. One thing about the Google Play, and it kind of stands for all of them, let's just say that you have a lot of your media already stored in the Google Cloud. You're already using Google Drive. You're already using Google Media, Google Music, Google Video. This fits right in. Turn this thing on, let it download its updates, get the app installed, log into your Google account, and you have access to all your media right away. So it works. And from that respect, it works really, really well. Like I said, it does have a little status light on it, so when you plug it into the back of the TV, it lights up so you know you're active. There is a button on it just in case it locks up so you can reset it. But this is all behind the scenes, so when things are working, it's packed in magically, and no one knows that anything else is going on. It's set up on it was simple enough. Basically, I mean, they call it real plug and play, and it pretty much was. You turn it on, it throws the screen up on your TV. Of course, you have to make sure you've got the correct HDMI input selected. But throws a message up on your TV. You go through the process where it downloads the apps. Maybe it took 5-10 minutes, and that was done. It supports all the major, the YouTubes, Pandoras, HBOs, all the apps are there. Video quality on it was great for the native apps, where I did see some issues that what it does is it's pulling everything from the cloud. So it's not looking, even if you have media on your phone or on your mobile device, it's not going to take that media and push it and display it. It's got to pull everything down from the cloud. So, let me take it back a little bit. You can do that, but that requires you install some third-party apps. It's not a Google Chromecast native feature, or they don't have a native app for it, which is kind of strange because you figure, all right, I'm casting from my mobile device. Why can't I just throw my picture up there? You can't do it. It's anything on your network, it sees it. It runs over your Wi-Fi, but it also, during setup, it actually does create its own little hotspot. That's how it establishes the initial connection. So, like I said, video quality on the Chromecast using the apps, it's fantastic. There's no questions about it. But if you do this thing that they call screen mirroring, which that's the closest thing you might get to showing your video or showing your own media. So what it does is it allows you to display what's in your browser and push that to the TV. So let's say there is some video service that they don't have an app for, but you can still see it on your device. You can tell it to stream that out to your device, but the video quality kind of suffers because really your phone, your laptop, whatever the case may be, is turning into its own little broadcast, and it's pushing it to the Chromecast. So video quality kind of suffers a little bit there. But that's to be expected, I guess. It's converting the signal, taking care of all of that. So, I mean, that's again, for me, that's basically it. If everything is in the Google world, the Chromecast is probably a good choice for you. It's not the only choice, but it's a good choice, and I can see why a person would go that route.
Okay. So I just want to jump in because I can tell you a few things about our wonderful world. And Apple, the Apple TV is like $99 and probably the most expensive device because it's Apple, right? And they like to overcharge
because it's Apple. Yeah, well, they're crazy. But that's also because the Apple TV is a full standalone device. It's almost not fair to compare the sticks to that because that's even, the Roku stick is only $50, but that's also the price of their lowest end, their lowest end, we'll call it mid-range device. You can get a Roku 2 for $50, or Roku 1, for $50, and then that goes all the way up to the Roku 3, which I'm going to say is $99. But don't quote me on that. I'd have to look at it. And that's different. There's more to it. The full-scale devices, more memory, more processing power.
Gotcha.
That's almost not a fair comparison there. But the Apple TV, I would say the same thing. If you're fully ingrained in the Apple universe, and that's where all your media is, and you've got your library of 1,000 songs you've purchased, and that's where in iCloud, go with Apple TV. It's going to do the same things that they have the same apps, all the big 10 or 15 video sources and streaming sources. You'll connect to there. You'll be able to display them, and the quality will be awesome. So there's nothing wrong with that either.
So you're telling me if I'm drinking the Kool-Aid and totally just caught in the Apple ecosystem, it's fine. Because if I'm just all about iTunes Radio and iTunes Match and everything else, then I'll just be fine with it?
You'd be fine with it. You can put on your black turtleneck and your horn rim glasses, your wire rim glasses, and you're good.
I got to say where it's kind of lacking is it's fewer apps and features than Roku. There's no games or cross-platform search, and it's just iTunes-centric from what I've seen with Apple TV.
That's what it's going to be. Now, we're going down that route. So you mentioned the search, and if we look at the next two, the Amazon Fire. Amazon, nice device. It really is. It's closer. It's got a cleaner interface, and that's one of the things I should have mentioned as well with the Google device. It doesn't have its own interface, really. If you're not with your handheld device, there's really nothing you're going to do or look at or see on this. Roku, it is, you have an actual remote that comes with the Roku device. You have an actual remote that comes with the Amazon device. You mentioned gaming. The Amazon device really, really supports games. There's a lot of games out there for the Amazon device, and they even went so far as to create a controller that works with their device. It looks, like your typical PlayStation-ish, Xbox-ish type controller. It also costs $40, which is the price of the Fire Stick, but you can actually get some decent gaming through that device, which is that's a nice option. For me, I think of it, if I'm going to be sending one more kid to college in another 6 or 7 months, and any of these devices really are the perfect thing to send with them because every school is going to have Wi-Fi in their dorm. You set them up. You give them you give them a login so they can connect to your Netflix accounts, your Hulu accounts, whichever you want them to be able to have access to, and they've all the TV they need, and all the entertainment they need, and it's only going to cost you an extra $40, which not a bad deal at all.
Rich, we're going to have you come back because this was helpful, and understanding the subscription services that are out there. But I think we're going to have you come back and walk us through how do we actually cut the cord, because I'm kind of I'm dipping my feet slightly into the water, and I'm like, okay, I can go with this, and I can be happy, and I can get away from that monthly bill. So we definitely have you come back here and take us through the next step as we get to the point where we tell cable and everyone else to go jump in the lake.
I'm going to tell you because I know we probably have another guest on hold, so I'll make it brief. Cutting the cord to fully do it, you've got to be willing to give up something. I mean, we live in a major metropolitan area, so you can get high def over the air with the correct antenna. You still need to maintain some subscriptions, because if you don't have that HBO subscription at some extent through your provider, then you can't use HBO Go. You can't completely cut it, but you can certainly cut it down.
Okay. So there's no way to actually say goodbye, totally.
Well, you're going to get something up. Of course, the caveat to that statement is legally.
Okay. Rich, we're going to give you a one-time right now. Rich, what's the best way to get in contact with you via social media?
Social media, Twitter is probably the best way now, so it is Richie_V, that is Richie_V_NY, RICHIEV_NY. That's me. You can throw me a shout at Facebook if you want, The Real Richie V, or you can even send me a Gmail, richiev@gmail.com. That's me.
Got you. Rich, thanks so much for coming through, and you know we're going to be in touch.
Oh, absolutely. Ted, always a pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I'll be looking forward to sit back and listen to your next guest, too.
All right. Thanks again. And that was Richie V discussing the state of streaming media. We talked about the Chromecast versus the Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV, and the first steps on how to cut the cord. Next up, we're going to have a personal friend of mine. I mean, and they're all personal friends, but this one is holds deep and dear to my heart. We're going to have a quick break, and we're going to come back with none other than the original Bucko Bruce.